This is a video to introduce you to Microsoft Teams. If you've not used it before and it's not installed on your machine, you can access it by going to office.com and signing in with your school username and password, and then you'll be greeted with this landing screen and you can access Teams online through your browser by clicking on this link. It is quite slow through your browser though, and it's much better to download the desktop app. So if you just Google download Microsoft Teams, it will take you to a page where you can install the app onto your computer. All of the computers at school have already got the app installed, and the network runs a one sign-in system, which means that once you've signed into your network account, when you open any Microsoft program, you'll automatically be signed into that one as well, so you shouldn't have to sign into Teams. But if it does prompt you, again, it's your school username and password. When you first open Teams, it can look a little bit messy, and so it's worth taking a look at the different areas of the screen that you're presented with. So on the left hand side, first of all, you've got your app launcher, and that can toggle you between your three main areas that you're going to want to be looking at. Activity makes sure that you don't miss anything, and that's often the first place you'll want to look when you open Teams. Anything at all that's been posted in Teams appears on this activity list in chronological order. So if you just open Teams and it's been a while and you think that a lot might have happened, it's a good place to start. The main area of Teams is called Teams, and here you'll find a list of all of the groups that you were a member of, which Teams calls Teams. So I'm a member of the science team, and we're all a member of the all staff team, and there's the directors of teaching and learning team as well, because I'm a member of that. Another area is the chat window, which works a lot like WhatsApp, and you can talk to people one-to-one using this window, just instant messaging. So the chat area is really good if you are having a conversation that only really involves you and one other person, although you can form a very small group, like a small WhatsApp group, and you can name it, and so you can have a localized temporary chat about something in particular. However, for more permanent things, for large groups of people, you've got the Teams, and this is the main reason that the program exists. So for instance, here is the science team, and members of the science team are all of the science teachers and the technicians, and also members of the leadership team that oversee the department. So that's about 20 people altogether, and they have access to these channels. So the team is split into kind of interest areas or development areas. So what we have here is a general channel that all teams have, and that is what you would suggest it would be, which is just general generic posts that everyone in the team will benefit from seeing. Then you can add your own channels. So for instance, within science, we have sub-teams of biology, chemistry and physics teachers. And those channels would discuss the delivery of the curriculum across the whole years 7 through to 13. But then there are also year group teams that just teach general science. So I've also got channels for the year 7 teaching team, the year 8 teaching team and year 9. I've put together a generic teaching and learning channel for things that aren't particularly anchored to any particular area of the curriculum. And then there is even a kind of just chat space for the staff to just swap things that have nothing really to do with school at all. You can create as many channels as you want, and it's a good idea to think before you get too involved in using the team into exactly what channels your team would benefit from, because if you organize this properly, it works really well, but if you don't, it doesn't give you any advantages over, for instance, email. Once you've selected a team, this space that's in the kind of light blue grey color, this is the only part of the window that you then need to focus on. So you've selected your team, you've selected your channel, and now you're going to work out what you can do with this. So across the top of this blue-grey area are tabs, and the main one that you'll be focusing on mostly is this Posts tab. And this works a little bit like emails in that you have given it a title and you've given it a list of people that you would like to see it. So sometimes you might address it to the team. At other times you might address it to individual people within the team. So here I've attached Namrata as well as the physics team. You can do everything you would in an email, write messages, attach links, attach files. And the advantage of this is that when people reply, the entire conversation is kept together in this one box. And it's always the most recent conversation, the most recent post that is at the bottom of the posts. And as you scroll upwards, you go back in time to the older messages. At any point, you can hover your mouse over the corner of the message and you can just acknowledge that you've seen it or that you like it or think it funny or whatever. You can also click on this and save the message so that if you want to find it again later, it's very quick to do so. And up here you can click on your face and there are your saved messages that you can find things quickly. Other areas of the channel are the Files tab. Every channel has a file area within OneDrive, and you can store all of your files that are associated with this area. So for instance, the physics department has taken all of their files off the school S drive and placed them all within this folder structure here on OneDrive. And so we can access that from any device in any place, and it integrates very nicely with Teams so that we can access it from within Teams and we don't have to go to another program in order to do so. And once you go into Teams and you pick on a file, say a lesson resource that you'd like to use with your class, you don't have to do anything else with it. You can just right click on the file and you'll have the option to open it within the app, and it will just load the in this case the PowerPoint app on your computer, and it'll work as if you've just opened the file from the network. You can edit it, you can save it, and all of that will be taken care of, and it'll just save it back to the original file in the cloud. Also available up here are tabs that you can customize yourself. So press the plus button and you can add whatever you want to as a tab. Any of these programs can be added. There are lots to choose from. So the common ones that I've chosen to use are to add a web page. So for instance, this takes us to the Google Calendar for the department. I can pick up key dates from that. I've got the long-term plan for the department so people can quickly access it, and links to the school website as well. A useful channel to create is a meetings channel, although you can run meetings within any of the other channels, but for department meetings and for morning briefings at the moment while we're doing this remotely, it's good to have a separate meetings channel. And then whenever you want to run an online video meeting, you just come to this channel or any channel and just click the Meet button in the top corner. And when you do that, it just launches a video meeting, and anybody else will have the opportunity to join that meeting, because when I start the meeting here, a big box will appear on the screen that says that there's a meeting underway and anyone with access to the channel can join the meeting. All of the teams that you see listed here are Fallabroom teams because you're logged into the Fallabroom Academy Teams area. But up here by your picture, if you click on that, you can switch to the Trust site as well if you want to. If that's available to you, it's because you're a member of a team at Trust level as opposed to school level. So for instance, here is the science team for the Trust. And so science teachers from all of the different schools, including the primary schools for the science leads, can access this area and share ideas about delivery of science across a greater body of people. And again, sometimes useful to have meetings, so useful to have a meetings channel, and then just hit the Meet Now button, and that will allow us to have conversations without having to travel to the other school. The first time you use Teams, it can seem very confusing because it isn't like other Microsoft programs. It has its own feel to it, and it's being developed at quite a pace, which means that new functionality is being added all the time. However, the key points are that your three main areas are the activity as your landing page of what's been happening since you were last here, the teams for your interactions with groups of people, and the chat console primarily for interactions one-to-one. Once you've selected that you want to look at teams, you have to choose which team you want to look at, and then within that team, which channel you want to look at. Once you get to the channel level, you can switch to this larger pane over here and actually do your interactions. Once you have got used to Teams, you can operate entirely within the Teams system, and it can replace email, and it can replace Google Meet, and it can replace the school network as a file browser. It just takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you do, the effort is worth it because it does eventually simplify hugely what you do. Within the science department, we don't really share any internal emails anymore. All of our internal communication electronically is done through Teams. Most of our file sharing is done through Teams, and we are gradually shifting more and more towards 100% attempts there. And when it came to the lockdown period during the summer, it was so easy to be able to instantly just press a Meet button in the corner up here and to contact each other within the team instantly, and to be able to have a quick 30-second conversation sometimes if necessary, and then just hang up again. That level of communication was much more easy to do through Teams. The one downside of Teams, I guess, is that it also means that you're available all the time, especially if you've installed the app on your phone and you get notifications. So one thing that you do need to find your way to very soon is to click on your face and then to set your availability. And quite often, especially outside working hours, you're going to want to switch to Do Not Disturb so that you don't get the notifications and people don't try to video call you. When you're finished with that and you want to be available again, it's just another click just to make yourself available. I think that's probably all for a quick introduction. What you really need to do is use it now and get familiar with it. And the functionality that I haven't spoken about today is not something you need to worry about until that point. And then when you are comfortable and ready to look deeper into it, I would suggest that the first place you go to is to click on a channel of your choice and just investigate the channel notifications area, because that will control things like whether you get an email or a pop-up to say whether somebody has posted or responded to your messages or something like that. So once you're familiar with the program as a whole, that's the first place that I would suggest you look. But for now, just navigate around and get comfortable with it.